Right. So again, make sure that you're working on the front view so that we can see this this guy standing up, right, on their vertical position. So you guys should have something like this, right, where you have the original image, but if we turn that off, right, we have all of these different components on their corresponding layers, which I guess that should be layer 3, right, 2, then 1 right there. Yeah? All right. So the idea of this model, right, after this exercise, which is the physical model, what you guys are gonna, construct, we're gonna work in diagram, and we're actually going to do a diagram about the construction of your maquette, which is gonna be the model that you guys will submit next week. But for this, the idea is that this model right here, this digital model, is gonna or should help you plan, right, your construction. And we begin that by specifying the layers, right? Well, defining what each of those layers is going to be derived from the photograph itself. Okay. Now, oh, sorry, this guy right here. Okay. So now let's actually move stuff around as it would actually look in your model. Okay. So what I want you guys to do, and here, let me actually maybe relocate so that, I don't think I'll throw you guys off. So let me copy all of this. So I can start all of it from scratch. And then we'll come over here. All right. So we'll make a copy. Let's turn off. I'm going to turn off the image because we are not going to need that anymore. Remember that we just used that for tracing. So I'm going to make a copy of this guy right here. And so I'm going to move it to the right. I'm going to hold Shift so that I can, it's orthogonally to it, meaning that it's aligning. And so I have that copy. Okay. So if I zoom, and again, I cannot stress enough how zoom selected is a super duper tool. Right here, zoom selected. And I have zoom selected in all viewports. Right? So I'm going to right click on that. And again, I have this right here. Right. So there you go. Okay, now this is the copy now. Now what I want to do, I want to do two things. I want to do it in the curves only way. And again, I'm limited on my layers, but I don't know if you guys can see from here that now this curve and that curve are now on a different plane, right? And I can prove that by going into a side view. And again, they're now on a different plane, right? This one's recessed or sent to the back, and this one's moved forward, rather than actually all of them being on the same plane. Can everyone see that? Okay, so we'll first work it in curves. That's what curves only, and then we're actually going to work it on extrusions. So actually you can see those layers as volumes. And I know some of you guys are already working on some extrusions, or maybe even turning your line diagrams or line designs onto 3D models for studios. So there might be some of this content that might be helpful. And it's simple. So in this case, I'm going to say that purple is my, I guess, furthest more layer, which I guess I have it labeled as 5 or 4. So I'm going to be moving everything right close to me. But as I move closer, I'm going to leave stuff behind. Let me show you guys what I mean. Okay. So right now, I'm going to move everything. Right? By everything, I mean all of the layers, excluding the original form. I'm going to use the gumball to do this as precise as I can. Right? So what's the thickness on this foam board? It's 3/16. No, I don't know if specifically it's in millimeters, right? I don't know if technically the measurement is in millimeters, but I think doing this projects, I mean, I think it's 3/16. We've come that, or is the closest that we'll get, right? 3/16. Okay, so that means that each layer, right, is 3/16 apart. So, oh, warning, there's some math involved on this. Okay, so just let's work it all together. Okay, so I'm going to move everything, right? 3/16. Right, so I can actually type 3/16, right? So again, I selected everything, make sure that the gumball is on. And gumball, right, is this option right here, this setting on the bottom. I know that for those of you guys that are way in the back, it's hard to see, but I mentioned it on the previous video, gumball. Right? And again, if I turn it off, you see that that thing disappears in the center. So we actually want it, okay, because that's gonna guide us. So again, it's on. I click once on the green arrow, which is the green axis, which is the x-axis. Right? So again, it moves things either closer or further away from us. Right? So I'll do. Let's see. I'll do minus 3/16. Why minus? Right, so I wanted to come towards me. Right? So I don't know. Do you guys see that? I'll do it again. Right. So I'll undo. And so again, minus 3/16. Right? Closer. I think it should work. Now I'm gonna leave the purple in place, and now I'm just gonna select these three, and I'm doing a quick group selection by holding shift. So I select one object, hold shift, select the other one while still holding shift, and I move this again another negative 3/16. All right, and again I'll repeat this, but now I just select one layer minus 3/16. Right? So now they're all in different planes. I don't know if this one actually worked. That actually looks less. Let's see, let's go to a side view. Yeah, you see it didn't really quite work. That's okay. Let me go back. Oh, because I already had moved it. There you go. Okay, one more time. So everything is selected, and I'm not sure why it changed the axis on me. But let's see, 3/16. And select these guys right there. Move again. Select one, and again in your case, again it's more layers. I think now it looks good. Okay, and that's that. Later on, we'll do more drawings on this, right? I mean, try to get some interesting diagrams, kind of exaggerating the distance so that we can actually show, that this is a use of layers and whatnot. That'll be the second part for the assignment. Next, I'm gonna copy this. I'm gonna copy. I select all of that, enter, copy from there to there, right click. Okay. Now I'm gonna use these curves that I have to turn them into surfaces. Okay, that's very simple. I'm gonna use the extrude CRB command, extrude curve. Okay, so I select my curves, right, and I do this per layer. Right? So I select the first layer, which was in my case, the pink. Right, and notice that I'm using this rectangle right here as my snapping point. Right, so I'm extruding everything to that end. Now the layer is not right. It should be layer 4. There we go. Let's see if that works. Now I'm gonna have to change it manually. Yeah, right. So this layer right here should be layer 4. There we go. Okay. So we have our first layer. So that'll be our first layer of foam board. Okay. From there, right, I select the next objects. So again, extrude CRB. And let's make sure that we have the right layer selected first, which again it's L2. Extrude CRB. Select curves. They're already selected. There it is. And again, I snap to the same point, right? That's the back right there. Right click, select this guy, and just to make sure to go back and switch to the right layers. So remember, we talked about this puzzle, right? Again, of the like the United States map kind of thing, where you put each state and then they kind of like notch together. That's what that's what this is kind of creating, right? And so that right there gives us an idea of how this thing would start looking. And of course, we have more layers in our case, which is the 10 layers. So, but anyway, go ahead and work on that exercise. Let's label them. And so let me turn on the camera right here. We type text. Let's call this tracing. Hit OK, and I'm gonna come into the front view. Snap there. Right click to repeat the last command. This would be curve. Right click, surfaces. I'm trying to press enter to exit out of this, but it does a return, meaning that I can do another line. I think actually if we press Control Enter, it does that. Right? Control Enter, it actually exits. So that the surfaces, you know, just neatness. So there we go. Okay. Questions on that? No? Okay. So let me give you guys, you know, some time to let you guys try it. Okay, so